On a seemingly ordinary Saturday, the atmosphere at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport was calm and routine. Travelers moved through the terminal, families reunited, and staff went about their usual duties, expecting nothing out of the ordinary. But in an instant, that sense of normalcy was shattered as the airport was jolted into crisis mode. Sirens blared, emergency vehicles raced to the scene, and staff scrambled to respond to a rapidly unfolding situation. June 14, 2025, would become unforgettable for hundreds of travelers and staff. What began as a typical weekend travel day quickly spiraled into a tense and frightening ordeal. The chaos didn't start with a storm or a technical malfunction. Instead, it was sparked by a direct and chilling threat made aboard Alaska Airlines Flight 2123, which was scheduled to depart for Walla Walla. 68 passengers and 4 crew members were ready for takeoff, their minds on their destinations, completely unaware that their flight was about to become the center of a major security emergency. As the plane taxied toward the runway, a single passenger's suspicious actions would soon disrupt the airport's routine, setting off alarms and triggering a full-scale emergency response. The threat was both credible and immediate, forcing the airport into lockdown. Security teams moved swiftly, and everyone on board suddenly found themselves at risk, their safety hanging in the balance. This incident would put every layer of airport security to the test, challenging the professionalism and training of the crew, the vigilance of security staff, and the resilience of passengers. The story of Flight 2123 is ultimately about decisive action under pressure, the courage of those involved, and how a potential disaster was averted through quick thinking and teamwork. Around 1 p.m., as Flight 2123 waited its turn on the runway at a busy international airport, the calm routine of pre-flight preparations was suddenly shattered. A passenger, visibly agitated, made a direct and alarming threat to a flight attendant, sending shockwaves through the cabin and immediately raising the stakes for everyone on board. The exact nature of the threat remains undisclosed to the public, but officials later confirmed it was both credible and extremely serious, prompting an urgent response from airport security and law enforcement. Instantly, the situation escalated to a Level 4 security incident. This is the highest threat level, indicating an attempted or actual breach of the flight deck, which could endanger everyone on board. The crew quickly identified the passenger responsible and acted without hesitation, following strict emergency protocols designed for such high-risk situations. The pilots were immediately alerted by the cabin crew, and their focus shifted in an instant from routine takeoff procedures to managing a potential crisis that could unfold at any moment. The decision was clear and unanimous. The plane would not leave the ground under any circumstances until the threat was neutralized and everyone was safe. The aircraft needed to be isolated immediately, and authorities on the ground were notified without delay, triggering a coordinated emergency response. Passengers, sensing something was terribly wrong as the plane's movement abruptly changed, exchanged anxious glances and whispered questions, unsure of what was happening. Now, the crew's rigorous training and swift, decisive response would be put to the ultimate test, as the safety of everyone on board depended on their actions in these critical moments. The flight attendant discreetly relayed the threat to the cockpit, triggering emergency procedures. The pilots declared an emergency and diverted the plane to a remote section of the airfield away from terminals and other aircraft. This isolation maneuver minimized risk and created a secure perimeter for responders. Engines were shut down and the crew maintained calm inside the cabin. One attendant monitored the suspect while others reassured passengers, providing only essential information to prevent panic. The professionalism and composure of the crew kept the situation contained. Their actions bought precious time for law enforcement to mobilize. In these tense moments, training and teamwork made all the difference. The emergency declaration triggered an immediate large-scale response on the ground. Police, fire, and specialized airport units surrounded the isolated plane, establishing a secure zone. The FAA issued a ground stop, halting all incoming flights to SeaTac and shutting down 2 of 3 runways. The airport's operations ground to a near halt, with cascading delays and cancellations. Departures stalled, and incoming flights were diverted elsewhere. The disruption rippled across the national air network, affecting thousands, but the priority was clear: safety over efficiency. The swift, coordinated response demonstrated the seriousness with which such threats are handled. Every action was aimed at protecting lives and containing the crisis. For the passengers, the ordeal was tense and confusing. Many clutched their armrests, exchanging anxious glances, unsure of what was happening or what might come next. The uncertainty in the air was palpable as everyone tried to make sense of the situation unfolding around them. Surrounded by emergency vehicles, they waited in uncertainty, following the crew's instructions to remain calm and seated. The flashing lights outside the windows only heightened the sense of alarm, but the professionalism of the flight attendants helped maintain order. After the suspect was taken into custody, passengers were escorted off the plane in small groups, supervised by law enforcement. Officers moved methodically, ensuring everyone's safety and reassuring those who were visibly shaken. Buses transported them from the remote tarmac back to the terminal. The journey across the airfield was quiet, with many passengers still processing the ordeal they had just experienced. Each passenger and their belongings underwent a full secondary security screening. Security teams worked diligently, checking every item to ensure nothing had been overlooked and that everyone could continue their journey safely. Though delays mounted, these steps were vital to ensure no further threats remained. Passengers waited patiently, understanding that these precautions were necessary for everyone's peace of mind. Alaska Airlines provided support, food, and updates, working to rebook travelers. Staff members moved through the crowd, offering snacks, water, and reassurance to those still shaken by the incident. The airline praised the patience of its guests and the professionalism of its crew. Flight attendants and pilots were commended for their calm under pressure and their dedication to passenger safety. Despite the disruption, the most important outcome was clear: everyone was safe. Families reunited in the terminal, sharing hugs and tears of relief after a day none would soon forget. The day's events underscored the importance of calm, cooperation, and rigorous security. In the face of chaos, it was the collective effort of crew, passengers, and first responders that ensured a safe ending for all. With the suspect detained and passengers safe, the focus shifted to investigation. Port of Seattle police led the initial response, soon joined by the FBI due to the nature of the threat. Bomb squads and K-9 units swept the aircraft and all baggage for explosives or dangerous materials. Only after a thorough search was the plane cleared for removal. The suspect was questioned to determine motive and whether they acted alone. Investigators examined the individual's background and interviewed all passengers and crew. The goal: build a strong case and identify any security gaps. Every detail was scrutinized to prevent future incidents. The SeaTac incident revealed the strength of aviation security's many layers. While delays frustrated thousands, the system worked as designed: swift, coordinated, and effective. Flight crews proved themselves as the first line of defense, their training and composure preventing escalation. The collaboration between airline, airport, and law enforcement was seamless. For travelers, it's a reminder: vigilance is everyone's responsibility. Reporting suspicious behavior as the flight attendant did is crucial. The peaceful resolution restored confidence in aviation security. No system is perfect, but this incident showed the value of preparation and teamwork. Safety, not convenience, remains the top priority. In the end, a frightening moment became a testament to the resilience of our security network.